everybody, welcome back to Pro Say with Tiff, where I break down legal topics in plain English so you can understand. Today's episode is one that I wish I had before I started, or when I started my journey on this long journey of contacting the EEOC. So before you file, I need you guys to watch this. In our last couple episodes, we broke down just the various different things about termination, about at-will states, and what that means for you. So we'll start one at a time, and we'll go through this process slowly so people can understand. EEOC is the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. That is where you would go if you feel that your rights have been violated in some way, somehow by your employer. So those things could be termination, failure to hire you, demotion or denial of a promotion, unequal pay. Which is why a lot of places, just off a side note, a lot of places don't like you to discuss your pay with other fellow employees. It's not illegal. You can discuss your pay, okay? Harassment or hostile work environment, denial of reasonable accommodation for people that have disabilities or special needs or something like that. Retaliation, job assignments, scheduling, or discipline tied to a protected characteristic, meaning what is a protected characteristic? We talked about those a little bit. Race, religion, sex, including being pregnant, national origin, age, 40 or older, disability, genetic information, retaliation of you complaining about it and then them retaliating against it, right? So then we talked about document. You keep everything from pay stubs to emails, from text messages, photos, contracts, anything you signed, you keep those things, okay? You need all of those things. So before you file, please make sure you have something. I'm not saying you can't file without it. What I'm saying is that you'll need something, some type of paper trail, okay? And also, so when you are getting documentation, you want to make sure you have names, have people's real names, who was there, what time of day did it happen, what date did it happen. You have all that information at your disposal, because our brains will forget things, right? We only have so much storage space in our brains to keep this information. At the time, you may not think that it's important, but I'm telling you, document. So before you file, you need to make sure that you identify deadlines, right? Because it can't be like 4 years out and, oh, you know what, when I worked at that employer, this happened. No, it can't be that. So when you are filing, you need to identify make sure you're within that deadline, okay? So every state is different. Most states kind of like have the same thing, right? So it depends on what the discrimination was for or what happened. If it's discrimination, it might not be, but it could be something else. Whatever the issue is for, right? You want to make sure that you are within the deadline to file. Some things are 180 days, and this is all based on public, private, and some people are even federal employees. I believe federal employees have a deadline of like 45 days. But if you're just like, for instance, in Illinois or Texas or Colorado or Iowa, I believe they are all 180 days. But if it's a certain thing, you look it up, and it could very well be 300 days. So 300 days from the date of the incident, not from when you felt like it. It's the date of the incident. And remember, feelings mean nothing. So we take our feelings out of this. If you have been wronged, justly wronged, then you have a duty not only to yourself, but to others, to protect them for those that come after you, okay? That is what I believe, and I'm firm in that belief. Speak up for yourself, okay? Also, when you're counting your days and you're getting there, do not wait until the last minute to do anything. Anything can happen. So we want to get ahead of the game. You know, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. You all will hear me use that a lot throughout this series, okay? We have to make sure that we're ready because I'm telling you right now, remember, HR is not your friend. HR is not for you. You don't sign their paychecks. Places like the EEOC, they're there for employees. They are there to kind of rectify certain situations. That doesn't mean that everything brought before the EEOC will qualify. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well. So for me, all everything was brand new to me, and again, I had no help. I contacted numerous lawyers to try to see what will my next step be. I spoke with people, and everybody was like, "Contact the EOC, contact the EOC," but I didn't know what that was. So you could go, you when you contact the EOC, it's going to be eoc.gov. You're going to go there, and then so you're going to submit an inquiry. Okay, that is not the official anything. That's you just going in there, putting in your information, your name, your contact information, sign up with your email. You do all the basic stuff, right? And so you'll have to put your statements in, any witnesses or whatever. You can put that in your charge if you want to. You don't have to, right? To preserve evidence, you don't have to. I'm telling you right now, you can wait. Okay. I had tried to avoid everything that I possibly could uh, to really involve others in anything. But that, in hindsight, if it were up to me, um, I would have waited a while to do that, just to preserve evidence, right? But you just put in your statement. Putting your statement is good. You put that in, and just don't wait till last minute, because you can't guarantee that you waiting last minute that you're going to have an emergency intake interview, right? You're not. You might not. You don't know. So just try and be a step ahead, okay? So once you do that, you enter in all your information. You make sure you save your confirmation emails. You save your portal messages. You screenshot. You document, and showing those dates in case anything were to happen. You just keep documentation of it. Okay, so then after you do that, you may be given the option to schedule an intake interview, right? It'll bring you to a little calendar and you schedule whatever date fits you. Some places can do over the phone, some people do in person. It just depends on you and how you feel and what's more comfortable with you. But remember, the EOC is an employed place just like everybody else, right? Most of the time they're understaffed, and overworked, okay? Okay. So one thing that I was told by someone that I spoke with, a lawyer, she, just in a consultation type thing, she explained to me to advocate big for yourself. Okay, not be emotional. State the facts. Facts matter. Take your feelings out of it. This is not about feelings. This is about you getting justice. Okay, and whatever that looks like for you. Okay, so you're your biggest advocate. You know what happened, even though you know how it made you feel. As long as you have documentation of everything, you should be good. So again, documentation. Okay, but just keep in mind when you do go there, you advocate for yourself. So sometimes, depending on what state you're in, the EEOC might be backlogged. Like I just told you, understaffed, overworked. So you might not get an opportunity to have a intake interview that you can choose. They might have to send you one. So that's fine. Just do what you need to do for your due diligence of yourself and your justice. That's the most important thing. Okay, so now you got your intake interview. What next? So we got the intake interview. Okay, so what are they going to ask in this interview? Keep it factual. What happened, when it happened, what the employer did, factual basis, what date, and everything. Because during the interview, you're going to be asked a lot of questions, right? Because they're trying to determine if you have a lawsuit or not. They're trying to determine like if there's cause, right? They're trying to determine a lot of different things, and it's based off what you say, what the truth is. Because let me tell you something: there are three sides to a story. It's their side, your side, and the truth, right? It just the reality. Nobody's saying you're lying. Nobody's saying you're not being truthful. But what we are saying is there are three sides to a story. So you want to make sure that when you're telling your story, you have factual. You come with that evidence. You have everything that you need to get your point across. So when they get to ask you those questions, they're gonna want to know, like, okay, so you're telling us this, but what reason did the employer give? Why did they terminate you? Did they give you a notice for termination? Did they? Why didn't they accommodate you? Why did they reduce your hours? Have you talked to unemployment? Have you talked to the employer? Did you try to work this out? They're going to ask a lot of questions, and you need to be prepared for that. Again, document. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Second time mentioning that here. Okay. So as long as we are documenting everything, you should be okay. Have it together. Like I said, this is stuff that I wish somebody had out there before this happened to me. Or before, like, it was just information that was out there. There was so much information out there, but it was a lot of people just trying to get you to, sign up for this, sign up for that. This is free knowledge. Pick up what I'm dropping down. I'm giving you all free knowledge, right? I'm not looking for anything, I just want you all to, my thing is, I was talking to my friend before. Like, it's really, yes, it's about, what happened, right? What happened to you is very important. But if anything, it's to help those that come after you. And it's that selflessness, right? It's you not being selfish, like you understanding like this isn't right. If it was sexual harassment, no, I'm gonna tell you something. Like when I was younger, I worked at a store, and I was in my 20s, I believe. I worked at a store, and the guy, my boss, had pulled me into a closet and tried to have sex with me. And this is going like way personal, but this is what I'm saying. I was young and I was not knowledgeable. And I was so distraught, right? So distraught, didn't know what to do. I didn't say anything to anybody because I just didn't know what to do. I just said no, like, get the fuck away from me. Like, I told him I was like on my period or something like that, just so he could stay away from me. So I was so distraught, I'll go back. And I've talked to a coworker, and she's like, "What's wrong with you? You seem off today, whatever." And the coworker was like, "I'm going to say something." She didn't have to do that. She could have been like, whatever. And so she took upon herself to go to management and say something, and they did this whole investigation. He ended up getting moved or terminated. I don't know, but I had heard that he had also did this. This is what he was doing at jobs. And that job, all they did was move him from one location to the next location. Okay. Had I known what I know now, I would have took their ass to court. That's what I would have done. But again, you just go through things. And I have tons of stories, right? I've been working since I was 14 years old. I have been in the workforce. I am a great employee. But what I've learned through this journey of, going to federal court, is it's a process. Like, it's not something that is to be taken lightly. It's a process. Okay, so we're done. Me ranting, me going on. Okay. When you do this interview, right, that doesn't mean like, oh my God, they're going to take my son. That's not what the EEOC is there for. Okay, so they're not accepting the allegations as true. They're not doing that during the intake. They haven't found discrimination during that intake. They will not be your lawyer. Even when you go up, if you make it that far, the judge whoever, they're not your lawyer. This is you filing everything. Remember, this is pro se with tip. This is you against them, okay? So this is what you put in is what you will get out, okay? And I'm telling you, it's a process. All right. That doesn't mean the lawsuit's been filed. Or if that a settlement is even guaranteed. Like I said, they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do, and then at the end of that intake, right? You know, you should get they should let you know during that at the end of that interview, if they feel like they're gonna give you a right to sue letter, if they feel like you've been discriminated against, have you been harmed? That's the other part, like, people don't understand. So there's like a two-part thing, right? Have you been discriminated against? Because you can very well be discriminated against, but there's no harm. Okay. So when I say harm, did you lose your job? Yes, obviously. But depending on the position you are in within that company, did it harm you? Were you not given a promotion that could have helped you in your life? Were you, it's just different things, right? So you want to make sure that you do there. I mean, you still have the right to sue, right? Regardless, that's but for a discrimination case, with the EEOC, in order to, you have to file the charge with the EEOC. Like, you have to, right? That doesn't mean that they're going to give you a right to sue letter, right? Because they won't. That also doesn't mean that you don't have a lawsuit. Okay, so what happens next? So if they say yes, they're going to say, okay, we want you to review and sign the charge of discrimination. So you're going to go, basically what it is they're going to email you, or they're going to hand it to you right there, and they're going to have you go over everything you guys talked about, and you want to make sure everything was factual, everything was correct, right? And if you need to amend it, you can amend it later, right? But you want to make sure that everything is correct. First time, so you ain't got to do it a second time, Let's work, get us together, okay? Proper preparation, okay? Then, then after that, so if they say, okay, you know what? We believe that discrimination did occur, or, whatnot. And we're going to give you a right to sue letter, so that you charge a file and you'll have the right to sue letter. So after that, it can go different ways, right? So one, they're going to notify the employer. Okay, they have like 10 days or something. They'll be notified within 10 days that there has been a charge of discrimination against them for blase skippy, whatever your charge was: age discrimination, race, sexual harassment, retaliation, hostile work environment, different factors. So the EEOC might say, okay, well, we feel like there was harm done as well, and we will offer, it does not happen all the time, they will offer mediation. So if the EEOC says, okay, we're going to offer mediation, we think that'll be something good, and it has to be voluntary on both sides. So employers notified, mediation is offered, and if you agree, employer agrees, y'all go ahead, EEOC will mediate, and whatever happens, that comes out of that. However, I need you all to understand that they're going to give the employer a chance to respond, whether they believe, obviously, they're going to say no. They're not going to say, you know what, we did do that. We did. Come on, they're not doing that. That's not the world we live in. So they are going to give them a chance to respond to every allegation. Okay, and they'll do that. They get their lawyers, and they will take care of that, okay? And then they'll ask you for your response. You don't say, oh, they're lying, they're full of shit. No, you be facts. This happened this day, this happened that day, this happened, this what they did. You go through the facts, okay? Facts matter, feelings don't. So then EEOC does their thing. They investigate. They do everything. I believe they have like 180 days to do that. They do their thing. They go through. You all reach an agreement. Da da da. Done. You're over. It's great. It's good. Okay. However, now back to that notice and the right to sue letter. Just say if EEOC says, you know what, we believe that, you have been wronged, you have been discriminated against, right? We'll give you the right to sue letter, but we're not going to mediate this. You have to go through, maybe hire you a lawyer, or not, because this is pro se, right? We're focused on pro se. We're not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I can't tell y'all what to do. I'm just saying the woulda, coulda, what could happen, what won't happen, what might happen. I'm not saying what will, because I don't know what will happen with your cases. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here dropping knowledge of what I know, the process I've been through. So they might say, you know what? We feel that you have been discriminated against, right? So what we want, we'll give you the right to sue letter, and you have 90 calendar days to take this to the federal government. Okay? When they say 90 days, they mean 90 days. No, just because they gave you the right to sue, that don't mean you want anything. You ain't did nothing. They're just saying that we believe that something may have occurred, but we're not going to mediate this because we're not sure about the harm part. Remember, harm, discrimination, harm. What happened? The harm is I had to go to therapy, or I lost income. Like I was offered a position and I'm black. They gave it to a white lady or white man making $20,000 more than me, or whatever. Or I lost my job because of this, and therefore I lost that income, right? Mind you, everybody should be looking for a job, but it just depends on the situation. Some people can't find jobs. Maybe their reputation was ruined. Maybe there were lies. Maybe, whatever. The market is down in that area. Who knows, right? Because it's very hard to find jobs now, right? It's hard to find good paying jobs. One, because you have to go off what's your education, how long have you been working, how long have you had experience within this field. It's very hard job hunting right now, especially nowadays in 2026, very hard. So the right to sue, they give you 90 days. They say, okay, you get 90 days. You need to think about if you're going to go to the federal government. Now you need to be finding you a lawyer. If you want a lawyer, if not, do it yourself, pro se, okay? So that alone is its own process. That alone is you deciding, okay, I got to do what I got to do. Am I saying that you won't be able to find a lawyer? Depends on your situation. Depends on your case. Depends on your discrimination. But what I'm saying is some people don't have, some people, the lawyers may take up, some lawyers, like I was saying, may work pro bono. That means they work free. Some lawyers you can go through legal aid. They'll represent you depending on your income and all that stuff. Then there's a contingency. Some lawyers, their contingency fee, they won't take it up front, but they'll take it if you win. Okay, or at the end somehow. I forgot exactly how that works, but those are the options, right? Or you go pro se and you don't have a lawyer. Okay. So, okay, you just have to decide where you're going with this. Are you going to go to court, to the federal court by yourself? Are you going to hire a lawyer? What are you going to do? Remember, this is Pro Se with Tips, so I'm just giving you the tips and strategies and tools you need and understanding that you need to do this by yourself, because it is possible. I did it. It's possible. I'm not a lawyer. I have no legal experience. I just, researched, and I found a way through the legal system to the legal system on my own by being, not saying turned down, but just, in a way rejected by a lot of lawyers saying they wouldn't take it because my case was all over the place. It was so many different factors, right? So I understood the kind of difficulty in the situation on whether a lawyer decides that they want to take it or not. And, also, I don't have $5,000 laying around to pay a lawyer. I don't have, I didn't have that. And most people don't have that. They don't have $1,500, $5,000. They just don't, right? Life be lifing. So I'm here to help you guys work through that process and tell you things that I wish I knew before I started it. Okay, so you have your right to sue letter or not, right? Only thing is required is that you go through the EEOC first. You have to go through them before you can take your lawsuit to federal court. And if you do have your right to sue letter, even better. That's even better for you because the EEOC found something in saying like, okay, we feel like you can sue. That doesn't mean they took your side or anything like that. They're just saying that they found some type of wrongdoing was done or something illegal. We're not going to say wrong because those are feelings, but something illegal happened. And so you do that. So quick recap, and then I'll also have posted here towards the end the EOC, step by step, a quick template of the process of the EOC. Remember, you go to EOC.gov to start that. Make sure you have your documents ready. And episode 4 will be coming soon, and we'll get that started. And then we'll just go ahead and continue with the process, continue with the steps, and make sure the biggest thing is that you're an advocate for yourself. So thank you for listening to me and allowing me to help you all through this process of Pro Say with Tiff. I appreciate y'all. And if y'all like what y'all heard, share, like, subscribe, so that I can get the knowledge out to the people that need it, because it is hard, especially navigating the federal court system with no lawyer.